Champagne Waterfall is a memorable event that started many years ago and is still very popular on the cruise business. And so many new faces, so new customers that they are not used to. And when they see it, they just, wow.
It's one of those big formal parties that you can only really do on the cruise ship, I think, because you've got the full entertainment on board, food venues as well with the restaurants, and of course everyone really loves to dress up. We do the champagne fountain in the centre of the ship, which is really the heart of the ship. So to get that atrium alive and buzzing, it's a beautiful atrium on Regal Princess. So to see everyone there excited with this big event, it's really quite a nice party.
Formal is where everybody are welcome. This is where when the captain introduces their officer and the entire crew member welcome all the passengers.
We want to make sure that we deliver the expectations and dreams of people. So to be able to bring out the officers and identify them, we want to make sure that these are the people that we can interact with through the cruise and make sure that we can make them dream vacations.
Wow, a very good evening to everyone. What a beautiful turnout. It's so nice to see everyone here, this is say the heart of the ship, and everyone looking so nice in your finery.
This is a unique event that you don't get this one ashore side. When you come on cruise, this is customary to dress up and, well, as I say, you all get together in a beautiful cruise line. Many years ago, cruising was only for few. Now it's cruise for everybody.
Please welcome to the piazza floor your host, your cruise director staff from Australia, Miss Kim.
Yes, hello everybody, hello. Look at you all, you're looking amazing. All right, well we are going to make magic happen right here on deck 5 in the piazza. This is the Dancing with the Princess Stars. It's going to be some of your fabulous crew and also a few of our wonderful guests that are here on board who've signed up previously. So it's going to be a fantastic night. But before we get going, we are going to meet our judges for the evening. They're the ones who are going to be eliminating our couples as they go. So first of all, Jen, tell us about yourself. You are our Deputy Cruise Director, and what are you looking for tonight?
Tonight I'm just looking for people that have some fun. I'm not really looking for it to be perfect. I'm just looking for some enthusiasm, some performances out there. Make it big. Let's see how we go.
That's good advice, make it big. All right, and in the middle there, he's the thorn amongst the roses. He's our administration officer. His name is Bernard. Now, what are you looking for, Bernard?
I'm looking for a good time as well. Basically, I might be looking for some technicality. Well, but other than that, I want to see a good time, see you laughing, see you jumping around.
And you have a dance background, don't you?
No, I do not.
Oh, yes, you do. You certainly do. So he's the one we're watching, isn't he? All right, and on the end, we have our beautiful cruise director, Kelly Rose.
Hi Kim, thank you so much. Tonight I'm just looking for somebody to pay my bar bill, so that's why I'm here, really. Just for a lot of fun as well. Somebody who's going to do something different to what everybody else is doing. That is a top must, absolutely, in this competition.
Sounds good. good. We want to see the moves out here on the floor. All right, without any further ado, we're going to welcome our crew to the stage, folks. Now, they've done this out in their own time. Occasionally, we've had to drag them in, but here they are, ready to have a good time. First of all the way from the medical department, working very, very hard on board, it's Josh, performer number 1. Hi, Josh. How are you? Now, just stand by me for a second. Tell everyone what it is you do on board.
I stick around and hope that no one calls me because you all should be very safe, and that's the point.
You keep everybody's well, don't you, in good health.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Sounds good. And how long have you been working for Princess?
Going on 5 years.
Wow, 5 years. There you have it. And here's your dancer number 1. And we're going to find you a lovely lady. Would you like that? Please do, yes. I'll do that for you, Josh, right now. All right, into the bucket of destiny we go. Your first performer is Maria from Brazil. Maria from Brazil, where are you? Maria from Brazil. Yes, come on down. Oh, look at her. She's excited. She's got a broken wing. Are you going to be okay, Maria, with this sore arm? Are you going to be able to dance? Not so much. Did somebody else sign you? Oh, but you're all okay. You know what? She's enthusiastic.
That is the best part to have.
There you go. There they are. Maria and Josh, give a hand. That is our first couple right there. Wow. Look at her signing up even though she's got a broken wing. It's okay. All right, we're going to welcome our performer number 2. She's from your bar star, folks. You'll see her down here on deck 5. It's Lucy.
Where's Lucy? There she is.
She's like that, you know. I said, look at you, Lucy. How are you today? You good?
Very good.
Now, you've been working up to doing this, haven't you? You've taken a few weeks to have a look at it, and you've decided tonight you're ready.
Not really.
But we're going to do it anyway. That sounds good. Now, you work generally down here on deck 5, do you?
Yeah,
Just in the piazza. And how long have you worked for Princess?
too long. Oh, like 4 years.
4 years. That's not too long. You're just getting started, aren't you? Yes. All right, we're going to find you a man, Lucy. We're going to find you a man. Into the man bucket. Let's have a look. It's Jorge from Cuba. Jorge from Cuba.
Where is he?
I don't know. People are like waving at me. Jorge.
Where's Jorge?
Yeah, he's there. He is. There he is. Give him a cheer.
There he is.
Look at him. He's excited. Hi, Jorge. How are you feeling about all this? You excited?
Yes, of course.
Yes, well, that's what we want to hear. They're excited. That's couple number 2, Jorge and Lucy. Give them a cheer. Wow. All right, now we've got from our very own cruise director's staff, it's Noah.
There he is.
Number 3. Hi, Noah. Oh, dear.
Please don't.
You will see Noah doing some of his specialty dance moves that he tries on the dance floor. Show us your favourite one, your signature one.
My favorite one is called hot plates. So what you do is when you have a very, very good dance partner, it's make the dance floor a little bit steamy. You do something like this.
There you go, hot plates. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. You watch out for his signature move. Give him a cheer for the hot plates. Come on. Come on, take one. All right, so Noah, you're fairly new to Princess, aren't you? How long have you worked for us?
4 months. First contract, 4 months.
He's on his first one. He's on his L plates, folks. So you need to be gentle with him. All right, I'm going to find you a nice lady. How about that? All right, into my lady bucket. It's Clause. Is it Clause from Brazil? Oh, she's excited as well. What a lovely lady I've got for you. Oh, look, it's another first sight. There's going to be some fire going on there. Beautiful. All right, take your lady and come over here for me. All right. All right, we're going to welcome down our next couple. This young lady, she's from the accommodation department, works very hard with cleaning all of the things on board the ship. We've got couple number 4, or dancer number 4, it's Esmeralda. There she is.
There she is.
Oh, look at you. So, Esmeralda, are you excited about doing this?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Have you always wanted to perform on the piazza floor? This is your first time, but you just thought, I'm going to give it a go. And how long have you worked for Princess?
13 months.
13 going to be a wonderful event right now. All right, and we've got our fifth and final performer here. It is Silvana. She's from the spa department. Come on down, Silvana. Looking gorgeous. Looking a little concerned, perhaps. Hi, Silvana. How are you? And you were happily working over there in the spa, and we said, we need you. Is that correct? But you were very happy to come and do it for us, weren't you? Of course, that's so we love the enthusiasm of all of our crew. Now, you work in the spa department. What's your specialty? She's a massage therapist, folks. So if you want to head on down to the spa, you might be able to request Silvana. Perhaps you'll be able to massage your partner and loosen him up. How long have you worked for Princess? 7 months, so relatively new as well. Fantastic. Oh, I'm going to find you a nice man as well. Let's see, who have we got here? It's Jim from California.
Where's Jim?
Jim from California.
I think he's behind the group here. He's right there.
Oh, here he is. He's running. He's going. Hi, Jim. How are you?
I'm good.
You're looking very fine tonight. Excited about being part of this group? Maybe we'll see how it goes. I think you're going to be amazing. All right. Well, the first round is going to be about impressing the judges. We are not going to eliminate in our first round. We're going to let you try out there.
Wait, hold on. We have another person. Kirk is at
Our
work.
first cruise consultant, Kurt.
Oh, of course we do. Oh, yes we do. Kurt, come on down.
He was hiding in the back.
He was hiding in the back.
Hoping we wouldn't see him.
Oh, that's right, number 6.
You can blame
He
Jim.
looks a little reluctant, doesn't he? Oh, you were hiding. I forgot all about you because you were hiding. All right, so because you are our future cruises master, guru, if you will, you have worked for Princess for a long time. How long?
15 years.
15 years for Princess, folks. Yeah, you are the grandfather of Princess, aren't you? All right, so even though you were hiding and trying to get away with nothing in this, you are very excited to be here, aren't you?
Really excited.
You know what?
Enthusiasm.
I think he's got some sneaky moves there. I think you really do. All right. So I'm going to find you a lady. That's what I'm going to do right now. Find you a lovely lady. Let's have a look. We have got, oh, that's bad one. Little Marie from Puerto Rico. Little Marie
From Puerto Rico.
from Puerto Rico. She's coming.
Wait,
She's coming.
Here she is,
Here
front
she
stage,
is.
behind the judges.
Hi, Little Marie. Is that correct? Little Marie. There you go. That's interesting. How are you going? You're looking gorgeous. How are you feeling about this, Little Marie? Are you excited?
I am ready.
She's ready to go. She's ready to go. All right. So now, because we do have 6 competitors, you are going to eliminate the first round. But before we do that, we're going to meet our lovely green room host up there. Hi, Fab.
Hello.
How are you going?
Everything is right here. Everything is good. We're good to go. We're ready to give some questions for our contestants.
So you'll be talking to our eliminated contestants, won't you?
Well, just the ones that didn't go to the next.
Didn't quite make it. We won't say that word eliminated. It's nasty. Yeah, okay. And of course, I'm also joined here by DJ Shay. You see him in Club 6 each and every night, spinning the tunes for you. So if you've not yet been there, it's on deck 6 forward. Go down there and have a bit of a dance. After this, it's going to inspire you. So folks, we are going to be dancing for our lives because one couple will go in the first round now. One couple will go in the first round. So DJ Shay, what is it going to be our style?
All right, well, go ahead, dancers, go ahead and take the floor, find your spot on the dance floor. The first song we'll be doing, the first style of dance will be the jive.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're gonna rock. Around 10 o'clock tonight.
remember who writes your schedule. Remember that. The crash, well, what do you say? They did well afterwards. You did well after you crashed into your brother.
There was good recovery.
There was good recovery. Lucy and Barney, that was a lot of fun. I like watching you try to good job. And Kurt, good job, honey. You had that going. I enjoyed that with you and Lou Marie. So Nana and Jim, nice job out there. Had a little bit of a twist going on. And yeah, good job for everybody, folks. Thanks for sharing.
Very nice comments. All right, tonight, what did you see that you enjoyed?
All right, to start off, Noah, way too much. Kurt, yeah, a bit of a rough start, but Lou Marie straight away. You got into it afterwards. Good job. For Josh and Maria, great energy as well. Esmeralda and David, it was a great time to watch you guys. Great fun. I loved it.
All right. And Carrie, what can you say about all of these other dances?
Josh and Maria, you were getting very close. I was so steam coming off there. Noah and Close, Noah, you were shaking your tail feather a little bit. That was, I think they call that twerking. I'm not too sure. I've never seen that in a jive before. Esmeralda and David, you guys are just having fun out there, which is what we want to see. Luke Marie, you really took the lead in this one, because Kirk, it took you a little bit of time to get in there. So without Luke Marie, you would have been lost. But congratulations to your partner there, taking the lead and doing such a phenomenal job. Well done to all couples. Not an easy thing coming out and dancing with a party you've never met before. So give them all a thunderous round of applause.
It's really not easy. They have done a wonderful job. And I'm liking the way that they're all colour coordinated. You've almost chosen your wardrobe before you got here. Well done, everybody. All right, so just right now, they are going to be heading up to that, and we are going to be talking with them in just a minute or two about their experiences here on Deck 5. So who's going to be the bad guy, judges? It's going to be Bernard, of course. Who's the first?
It was very close. You all did a really good job. It was very entertaining. Number one, you were great. Unfortunately, I have to say number 5.
Oh no!
Spectacular.
We're going to head up to the green room and we're going to talk to you and just give them a cheer, folks. They did a fabulous job. It's very hard to come out here and do all that. So well done. And we'll talk to them just a minute or two. But we are going to be dancing again with our remaining 5 contestants. So Shay, what's our next dance?
That's right, dancers, go ahead and take the floor. Round number 2 is all about the South Side.
Come on, encourage them, crowd. Encourage them.
And that is the end of round number 2.
That was amazing. I loved it. There was a lot of tushy shaking going on there. All right, we are going to go straight to the judges. Let's start with Kelly this time.
That was extremely entertaining. High quality. This is going to be a really, really tough contest here tonight. Josh and Maria, I lots of hip movement there. Noah, I think that was a horse truck we were doing at one point in time, but it was a lot of fun. Esmeralda, I think you were the first one really to come out and embrace the theme, so well done, not being shy at all. Kurt, I love that little shimmy in there. That was something different, and we're always looking for something to differentiate between all of the couples. So congratulations again to everybody.
All right, so Vanilla, what can you tell us about what you saw?
Well, Lucy and Wade, you guys are amazing. I love watching you guys. Very good. Josh and Maria. Oh, steamy. And I love the shimmy. You guys are so good together. Very exciting. Noah and Jose. Did I get that right?
Jose?
Very good, Jose. Noah. Well, yeah, aimed forever. Not really sure what that was, but it was still fun to watch. Everyone is great entertainment.
All right, Jane, what good?
All right, number 2, Lucy and Laura. You guys look like you've been dancing together for a long time. You guys are having fun out there. Let's place it. It's a really tough room. We've been sitting back looking at us. Esmeralda and Dave. Esmeralda, you like this salsa. She knew what she was doing. She was like, Dave, keep up. I've got going on. Rick, some dirty dancing in there. That was fun. Lou Marie looked a bit confused at the time, but she got lit too at the same time. Josh and Maria, I liked the back bend. Josh, I'm talking about you. I like the back bend thing you had going on. That was good. You're actually, your dad is here as well watching you, isn't it?
Right behind you.
And good job. Your partner looks confused a lot because of the twerking that goes into every dance that you do. But you all had a lot of fun. That's like, I feel like said from the beginning, this is a really, really tough round.
All right, so while you're conferring to decide who's going to do this, we're going to go up to the green room. We're going to talk to Fab and see how our contestants do.
Okay, we're with our first couple here. Tell me how you felt out there. Was your first time dancing in a competition?
Yes, it was a lot of fun.
Was a lot of fun. The first time doing this?
Princess, yes.
On Princess, yes. You did it before?
Yes.
Perfect. Silvana. What happened? It's a good dance. Do you think you could make it, Brenda?
I was a little bit scared, but that's okay. We'll do it again.
She did great. Amazing. Back to you, Kim.
Oh, thanks. So give them a cheer, folks, our first eliminator. Well done to you. All right, so judges, we need a decision.
Not bad to me. This one was extremely tough. Everyone was having fun. Everyone was showing good time. Unfortunately, I got to pick one couple. I don't know why I did these two, but it's okay. I'm going to have to go with number 3, Noah and Jose. We can blame Noah for his technique.
Oh, he's so upset. There you go. Give him a cheer as they make their way up to the drawing room. What a good job. Strong competitors there. Just shows you how strong the competition really is. All right, so we've got another round of dancing.
That is correct. Dancers take the floor. Round number 3. We're going to take a left and head down that dirt country road because it's time for some country.
about the dancing you just saw?
Oh my gosh, that was a really good round. I honestly, it's going to be a tough one for us. But first of all, Kirk, you got right into it. Kirk and Marie, you were amazing to watch. Super fun, lots of energy. Number 4, Esmeralda and David. I love the little one-leg hops. They were awesome. Very coordinated. Very good to watch. Lucy and Jorge. Got a little lost at times. I saw that. But again, great energy, great show to watch. And last but not least, Josh and Maria. As always, fun to watch. Great energy.
Fantastic. All right, Tim.
All right, I enjoyed that round. That was really good. That was fun. Country, some of you got straight into it. Josh and Maria, you guys were doing like the do-si-do with one arm. That was pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. That was really, really good there. Lucy and Jorge, you were even doing it backwards. Jorge's like, turn around, look at it. I saw the coaching. Esmeralda and David took me a little bit, got into it, and we figured out just jump around like everybody else is doing in country. And Kurt and Marie, Kurt, I think you're a country dancer. I think you've been practicing this at home. Marie, I like the little knee shake that you had going on as well. That was cool.
Very nice. Thank you, Jen. And Kelly.
Yeah, country is only a round that does throw a lot of our contestants, but these 4 couples, they got right into it and had a lot of fun with it. It definitely is going to be a really, really tough round for us to pick somebody. Again, Lou Marie, I did love the knees. Esmeralda and David, I love that you guys attempted something different to the sort of regular do-si-do, and you were sort of adding in a line dance element there as well. All of our couples just having a lot of fun, and congratulations again.
Well done. Give it a cheer, folks, and you came for us as well. So once again, while our judges are deciding who's going to be leading the competition, we're going to head up to the green room and find out about these contestants.
Here we go. We're our second couple here. Tell me what happened down there. Salsa was not good in the dance.
Salsa.
No good. Salsa, not good. Salsa, not good. No? Salsa. No? Samba. Yeah. She said that if it was samba, it would be better, but next time please put samba instead of salsa. Thank you very much. We understand each other.
You got it, yeah.
Noah, what happened down there? I saw twerking, I saw your best moves. What happened?
Well, honestly, I am a little bit disappointed. I think this is a travesty to say the least. I already talked to the agent. He's a little disappointed, but you fall down sometimes and you get back up. So I'll keep on dancing. Absolutely.
Perfect. Yeah, that was our second couple. What do you think?
Thanks, Fab. Thanks, Noah. Lovely comments. All right. So, it's getting tough. It's getting tough, isn't it? We've got 4 couples left. We have got one more dance style for you before we start mixing it up a little bit. But before we do that, of course, we need to eliminate. Who is it we're sending home now? Bernard.
Okay. It's extremely close decision. It's really hard getting
Do have to make a decision. Unfortunately, I know it's tough.
Sorry, Dad. But number 1,
Oh, that was a tough decision because you guys were amazing. And you did it with one arm. Fantastic. One arm and one leg. Up we go to the green room now. We're going to hear from them. Oh, it's all right. So we are going to start mixing it up a little bit now. And you are going to be dancing on your own. Oh. So what if we start with Lucy? Come on over, Lucy.
Should we explain why?
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 envelopes. In each envelope, there are 2 styles of dance music. You will choose your envelope, and you don't know what it is until I tell you. So, Lucy, would you like envelope A, B, or C? Bring your partner now. Come on. You want B.
B. Well, that was a quick decision. B. Let's have a look and see. Are you frightened? Are you feeling confident?
We show you Reflections DVD team.
Oh. I think you guys can dance to anything, although I will go.
All right, you will be dancing a waltz into Bollywood music.
Take to the floor and away you go.
Starting off with a waltz. It's time for Bollywood. So we got envelope A and envelope C. Which one would you like? A. All right, let's take a look here. All right, I'm going to show them the Reflections DVD. This is actually kind of fitting because you already have a flower in your hair. You're going to be doing the tango into Irish dancing. Take the floor, please.
It's going to be amazing. I can feel it.
Time for some Irish dancing. Well, Kurt, you guys have no choice but to take envelope C. You show it to the Reflections DVD. You were dancing a cha-cha. It's Latin, she's happy about that. Into hip-hop dancing. Dancers, take the floor. your round. I think we can make that one PG-13.
So, watching the new party something. Wow, that was amazing. Alright, so, judges, we might go to the green room while that is just settling in, and we'll come back for your comments in a minute or two. Alright, let's head up to the green room, Fab.
Wow, our third couple is just speechless after that demonstration of hip hop of Mr. here. Okay, so let's go here. Tell me, what happened down there? Country was not your style.
Dancing? Oh, we prefer samba, of course.
Samba, of course. Being from Brazil, they love more samba. Perfect. Josh, first time doing this, how you felt performing for the first time in front of your dad?
I feel like we left way too early, and I'm really grateful we didn't make it to round 4 here.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Back to you, Kim.
Alright, Fab. Now we're going to get judges to make comments, and then we're going to ask you for an elimination. So, Kelly.
Oh my goodness, that was just the most fun round out of all of them so far. We still got more to come. Loved every couple. Jorge and Lucy were having a great time out there. I noticed that you did, I think your waltz was beautiful. You did bring a little bit of country back with your dozy-do moves as well. Esmeralda and David, that tango, hot and steamy. All you were missing was the rose in between your teeth. And then, of course, your Irish number. I wrote down, it was for a dance that you don't actually touch each other physically. It was hot and steamy. You were getting very, very close. And Kirk and Lou Marie, technique-wise, I think your cha-cha was the best dance we've seen so far in this entire competition. And when it came to hip-hop, oh my goodness. I think Shay kept the music going for an extra amount of time just because it was so entertaining. So congratulations. I know, we all were just on the edge of our seat. Congratulations to all of our couples.
Wow, so good. All right, and I'm looking to add to that.
Wow.
Just
That was incredible. Lucy and Jorge, that was a very good waltz that you had. I love that Jorge was singing to Lucy. That was very nice to see. When I came to Bollywood, you kind of looked like Michael Jackson. Really. But it was a very good show. I really enjoyed it. Esmeralda and David, the tango, beautiful. You guys had the moves. For the Irish dancing, not many people do it. Esmeralda, you had it really good. You did a really good job. I enjoyed it. You're showing David the way. You guys both come off really well.
Very nice. And Jen, final comments.
I'm just looking at my notes and they're all over the place. I put Lucy and Jorge, the waltz I thought was so cute. It was just so pretty. You guys looked like you were having fun out there. Into the Bollywood that was fun. It was a lot like the country or a little like Michael Jackson. And you know what though? You guys had a great time out there and way to start it off. Esmeralda and David. Esmeralda, from the beginning, you had the leg flick. You're ready. And David, you just are watching what she's doing. She's a great leader. You've got a great partner there. And then you went from sexy tango into river dance. I like that. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. Kirk and Lou Marie. It started out as sexy, and Lou Marie, she had the cha-cha going. But as soon as the hip-hop started, she was the first one into it. But Kirk, that was your jam, dude. You just went for it. I was glad Shane had the extended remix on for a while. But that was a really fun round, and it's going to be very, very difficult. But great job to all of y'all.
All right, so while our judges are deciding who's going to be leading us, give our final three couples a huge round of applause. To get this far has been a big effort, but we do need to let one more couple go, and they're going to run straight straight up to Fab so we can have a quick chat with you before we do the final round. So who is leading us? Bernard.
Of course it's me. Toughest decision. Kurt, I didn't get to say anything. You guys were amazing. Oh my gosh, I really loved it. Unfortunately, I have to vote someone off, and I'm going to have to go with Lucy and Jorge.
Oh, Lucy and Jorge, you fought a good fight. Oh, I think I'm going to run straight up to Fab, and we're going to be talking to them in just a minute or two. But right now, look at them, it's congratulations all around. I'm going to bring you onto the middle of the floor, you two couples, so that everybody can see your beautiful faces. Give them a big cheer. They have fought their way through the grand final of Dancing with the Princess Stars. We've got the royal way going on over here.
And should we tell them how the final judging goes?
Oh, I think you should. You tell them how it's going to happen.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, all this whole competition, we've had our judges making the final decision, but this final dance, it's up to you. So you decide which couple, and you're going to watch what they're doing dance-wise. They're going to dance at the same time. At the end, it's going to be the audience applause that's going to decide who is Dancing with the Stars champion. We'll get some input from the judges at the end, but ultimately you are the final decision.
That's indeed correct, Shay. Wow. But before we get into that, and before we reveal what the final dance is going to be, we're going to go up to the green room for the final time. Okay.
Okay, we have here Jorge, right? Perfect, from Cuba. Perfect. Tell me what happened down there. As a Cuban, I know you have the moves, you have the, everything is in the blood. What happened down there?
Hollywood. What's the word? I don't know, but I'm fine.
That's good time. Lucy, first time doing this competition, how you feel down there?
Very nervous.
Very nervous. Now, what surprised the most is you are Mexican. You have dance in your blood. What happened down there?
I need more tequila.
You need more tequila. That's a perfect answer. Back to you, Kim.
Tequila is always the answer to everything, isn't that right? All right, so we have our two final couples. Would you like to know what it is you're going to be dancing to, folks? Yes or yes? Yes, you would. DJ Shay, reveal to us what the final dance is going to be.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope tonight with Dancing with the Stars that you've had the time of your life.
It's time to really impress, folks. Last chance.
Dirty Dancing.
It's from the Dirty Dancing soundtrack. Nobody puts baby in the corner.
Now, before you decide who is going to be crowned at Dancing with the Princess Stars, let's hear from the judges for a final time. Kelly.
That was a whole lot of fun. Best round yet. I just want to make mention as well that both of our crew members who made it through the top two, they have never done this competition here on Regal Princess before. Both first timers. And just great to get them out of their comfort zone doing something different here on board. They both deserve to be winners in our eyes.
Absolutely. All right. Jen, would you like to answer that?
That was fun. That was, you know what? You our partnership evolved from the first dance to that last dance. Y'all had a great time. I did think it was really funny though when Kirk was like to Lou Marie, come on, and she was like, no. So then Kirk attempted to go for the the person that was lifted, but I like the lift in the end. That was well done. But yeah, the original no was what got me there. But wonderful job.
And now the final comments.
That was a great performance as well. Again with her, when she said no, I thought you were going to run into her arms. We were about to do the lift. She was going to do the lift. But it was an amazing performance from all of you. Esmeralda and David, you were gorgeous as well. I don't know how the audience is going to pick. It's going to be a hard choice.
It certainly is. And I hold here in my hand one of the small prizes here. It is a solid gold chocolate medal, folks. Of course, we do have some other wonderful prizes for both of our guests. Now, first of all, what have you got for big cheer for your favourite team? Your favourite team. First of all, couple number 4. What about couple number 6? Well done to everybody. Folks, I hope you have enjoyed Dancing with Princess Stars. There you go.
you think about Oslo, there is something far away in the distance, and then when they come here and then they experience that this is quite a lively and a modern city that is actually catching up with trends.
Norway have always been an outdoor people. Before we used skiing of necessity because we have a lot of snow, we just had to use skis to come around. Later we learned to ski just for joy. The Vigeland Park is an open-air park with 212 sculptures, 670 figures, and is the work of one man, Gustav Vigeland.
To have this Vigeland Park, the sculpture park, means a lot to the people of Oslo because it is not only a sculpture park, it is also a public park.
In particular, Oslo has changed a lot from being a dull city to become like a cosmopolitan city with a lot of music going on, a lot of fancy restaurants, a lot of new galleries have just been opened. So this is really going to be an art metropole also.
Berlin in 2017 is mainly an international city. It's actually not the typical Germany, what some people expect. That's more the south, it's Bavaria. So here it's a really international city. It's a lot of art, a lot of museums, a lot of young people come to Berlin, a lot of starts up. It's like the second Silicon Valley nowadays. And all the histories, the 20th century happened in Berlin. So you had the rise and fall of the Nazis, World War II, the battle for Berlin, the Berlin Wall was done over here, it came down over here. And that's very interesting for a lot of people. They come to Berlin and they hear the history, complete history of the 20th century.
Champagne Waterfall is a memorable event that started many years ago and is still very popular on the cruise business. And so many new faces, so new customers that they are not used to. And when they see it, they just, wow.
It's one of those big formal parties that you can only really do on the cruise ship, I think, because you've got the full entertainment on board, food venues as well with the restaurants, and of course everyone really loves to dress up. We do the champagne fountain in the centre of the ship, which is really the heart of the ship. So to get that atrium alive and buzzing, it's a beautiful atrium on Regal Princess. So to see everyone there excited with this big event, it's really quite a nice party.
Formal is where everybody are welcome. This is where when the captain introduces their officer and the entire crew member welcome all the passengers.
We want to make sure that we deliver the expectations and dreams of people. So to be able to bring out the officers and identify them, we want to make sure that these are the people that we can interact with through the cruise and make sure that we can make them dream vacations.
Wow, a very good evening to everyone. What a beautiful turnout. It's so nice to see everyone here, this say the heart of the ship, and everyone looking so nice in your finery.
This is a unique event that you don't get this one at shoreside. When you come on cruise, this is customary to dress up and, well, as I say, you all get together in a beautiful cruise line. Many years ago, cruising was only for few. Now it's cruise for everybody.
The main reason the Old Town's a good attraction is because we've got a lot of the original medieval buildings still here remaining. The Old Town is divided into the upper and lower levels. In the upper town it's more sort of power institutions and parliament, and in the lower town there's sort of more of the locals and the busy life.
So we take it for granted that it's safe, secure. People who come to visit, they feel and see that it's something special. But it is a peaceful country. Estonians are also peaceful, so we welcome everybody who likes to visit us.
When we entered the Hermitage Museum for the first time, in first few minutes we get involved into going through an X-ray, security, tickets, turnstiles, and then quite of a sudden people get into the Rastralis gallery, and then the first sight is the impressive ambassador staircase, which is the main staircase of the palace, and it's a huge, impressive interior in Russian Baroque style, all made of white Carrara marble, expensive Italian marble used in every royal palace in Europe too. And There is a lot of gold and windows and mirrors opposite to each other and making the space looking even bigger. And people are always getting impressed and forget about everything, start taking pictures, and this is really beautiful. And I would say even being a tour guide and visiting it many times, I'm not getting used to it.
One of the most typical things of Finland is silence. To experience silence and tranquility in Helsinki is a good example when you are traveling around.
On the main square that we call Senate Square, because the old imperial Senate was raised there early 19th century, and that would be what we could call as old part of Helsinki, old town. The most visited spot of Helsinki is the so-called Rock Church, or Church of Temppeli-aukio in Finnish, meaning Temple Square. And there, in the 60s, a Lutheran church was hewed into the bedrocks.
And the rock, the Church of the Rock, it's a very modern design. When you hear we are going to a church, you don't quite expect what you are going to find. You walk into the rock, and you are covered with copper and light and the granite, the rock. So the experience is a very nice experience that you feel inside this rock church.
Stockholm, capital of Sweden. And the area here, this is really a world of islands. Considered to be one of the most beautiful salients in the world. Outside of Stockholm you have 30,000 islands. No kidding, 30,000 of them. And the inner city is really part of that archipelago. The inner city itself lays on 14 islands. Each island has its own character, and it's a city within the city. Describe Stockholm the best? Well, it's old and new meeting. It is water and land. It is parkland, built up areas. It's something for everybody's taste.
At the moment the shutter clicks, the complex process of printing your princess photos begins. ensure the highest quality every step in the making of a memorable photo, from the physical setup, the camera settings, the development, is artfully arranged, precisely measured, and doubly checked. The process of capturing images on the Regal Princess is very similar to what you might see in a photo lab on land. However, once your images are taken, downloaded to the photo lab, any similarities between what we do on the Regal Princess and what we do on land cease. Operating a high-tech photo lab on land is challenging enough, but operating a complex modern lab on a moving vessel at sea is even more challenging. The Regal Princess Photo Lab, however, is up to the challenge. Here's how. Once your images are downloaded to the photo video department's local server, which is connected to the ship's intranet, they are run through special enhancement software and sent to one of 4 workstations, each of which connects to its own Fuji Frontier printer. Each one of our Fuji Frontier printers is a photo lab in itself. It's a self-contained unit that has both a printer section and a processor section. We use Fuji archival quality paper. In the industry, it's known as Fuji Crystal Color Archive. Now this is very important because it's a resin-coated paper, and the resin coating gives it a longevity and a quality that's unmatched by other processes. One misconception is that we use inks or dyes as part of our process to produce the photos. This couldn't be further from the truth. We use a photochemistry process that is very similar to what's been used for some 30 years in photo labs. Although there have been many recent changes in camera technology, the traditional photochemistry that we use has remained unchanged for some 30 years because it has a proven longevity and delivers a consistent quality. Every image we shoot, we print. This printing is a manual process that involves a human being making subjective judgment calls about color, contrast, density, and overall appearance. When the paper first enters our Fuji Frontier printers, it's never been exposed to light. It's blank. It doesn't actually get an image on it until it passes underneath the exposure head. This is light that's actually coming out of a series of clustered LEDs and lenses, and it's broadcast right onto the piece of paper that's been cut to the perfect size. From there, it travels into the photochemistry, developer, fixer, bleach, rinse. All these chemicals will be familiar to someone who's worked in a darkroom, with the exception that here, it all happens on a conveyor system contained within the machine. It goes to the developer where the image is brought out, and you could see it now if you were actually looking inside the machine, but if you could see it, that would mean light would be hitting it and the image would be exposed. You can't actually look at a print until it's gone into the fixer. Once it's into the fixer, the image has been fixed. From there, it travels into the rinse stage where the chemicals are removed from the resin-coated paper, and there it's dried. All this has extremely small tolerances. Changes in temperature of less than ½ degree, or traveling through a chemical for a little bit too long or a little bit too less, means that the image will be radically affected. It's a very meticulous process and needs to be controlled from start to finish, but in the end, the paper comes out of the machine ready to handle. Check all of our prints, both in the photo lab and the photo gallery, to ensure that they all meet the highest quality standards. Only then are they put on display. Seeing people's reactions to our photos is extremely rewarding, especially when we know all the hard work that went into getting those images on the wall. It all comes down to the magic of the Photo Lab.
Food, I think it's the most important thing in life. Because without food, you don't live. It's like your car, you don't put the gasoline, you cannot move. And the food is the same for us.
I don't know about being the most popular guy on board. I'd say the captain would be the most popular guy, but I'll take the credit anyway. Passengers are on board. I mean, they're basically up and about for 14, 15, maybe 16 hours a day. I think food is something they look forward to 3 or 4 times a day. I mean, providing 20,000 meals a day for an average cruise like this has its own set of challenges. The only time off really would be, say, maybe 2 hours in the afternoon between 2 and 4. But it's generally a 7-day-a-week, 14-hour working shift. So feeding 4,500 passengers and 1,300 crew, time off just doesn't happen.
I need to say Princess Cruise is one of the few cruise line in the business where they do everything from scratch. Yogurt, frozen yogurt, soup, sauce, from the little praline to the breadstick, everything is made on board.
In my position, you have to always be calm, especially the galley in the service time. There's a lot of shouting there. You have to stay on the top, the people working with you, so that you as a head chef, as a sous chef, you have to be model.
When you cook for 3,000 or 4,000 passengers, it's a little pressure. It's one kitchen, it's only one family, one team, all working together.
Do this in your friend's house, don't do it in your house. When I born, I was already been in this business. My parents used to have a restaurant and I grew up there. And I did my education in Italy until 15. And then I moved to Paris and I finished my education in Paris with the École Culinaire Française, Auguste Escoffier.
The first seed was sown when I was, oh my goodness, I go back as far as the age of 13 when I got my first boots in the door in hotels as a dishwasher. I started at the bottom level. And just really went from there. And at school, went into the home economics class, and I was one of 2 boys in those days that did cooking, which wasn't really the trendy thing to be done, but we did it and got through it. At 16, I was advised by my teacher to go into catering college just south of London, but I chose to join the British Army. So I did about 3 years with the British Army, attached to an infantry unit.
I joined the company as a first cook, and then I go up to be a sous chef. I become a chef on board. I was a chef on board of the old Royal Princess, the original Royal Princess until 1988. And then I become the master chef, and today I'm the culinary ambassador of Princess Cruise. I applied to be 6 months experience on board of the ship, and today is 2014, my 6 months in never end, I am still here.
Having traveled halfway around the world in hotels and then coming back to ships, I realized that hotels didn't really offer what I wanted, so whereas ships always did. I mean, with such a diverse workforce and such a large number to cater for, you're always kind of challenged on a daily basis. And again, working with so many different people from around the world, you're picking up different cultures as well, which helps kind of bolster the repertoire that you already have.
The cooking has been, for me, is like it's like from the childhood. It was there in me when the teacher used to ask me, like everybody, what you want to. I was showing my hand to become a cook.
I participate in some culinary demonstration, for example, in the carving demonstration. My passion is make decoration for display.
Passengers probably seeing these artworks and these masterpieces on the buffets, like the ice carvings, the watermelon carvings, and even a lot of passengers coming to our chef table setup that we do maybe 4 or 5 times a week. They see the product there, but they never know how it's done. So actually to go to the demonstration, I mean, it's just something they see it forming in front of them. And I think it just kind of, it gives them that better understanding as what's involved in putting things out there on a daily basis.
The passengers, they love so much the food, especially here in Regal, they love the food very much.
Food is like the fashion. Every year you need to get something new. And then is the inventive, is the passion of the chef to add the different sauce, different spice. And in this moment, the most popular cuisine in the world is the fusion cuisine, you know, to get the world together. Our job is not a job to be a cook. To be a cook is an art. And the art, you need to feel it. It's not a job you go in the factory and the machine work for you. You just move things. Not to be a cook, you have 3 times a day the exam of yourself. You know, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you produce something for somebody else.
Everything comes automatically. The work, you have to prove yourself and give you 100% to everything what you do, and the rest will come to you. It's the most important is that we see the binding of the people and more working together. That's very important to reach the higher goals. All the people working together, all the nationality working together and with the one goal. And it's nice to see in the Regal Princess we found that.
I think so when you do something, however is your job, you need to do with passion, with your heart. And then everything becomes simple. And ladies and gentlemen, buon appetito. Ora.